All right, we're live. We are on the right Wi-Fi. We've got the phone connected. I think everything is going to go.
Do I need to pull up YouTube and make sure we're live? Make sure I can see it?
I've also got YouTube up.
Okay, I'll let you do it then. I'll give JP a ring.
Are we going to you want to get him on right away? Or do we want to give him a sec to see if he needs to make that phone call? Shoot him a text. Tell him we've gone live.
He had said... Yeah, I see.
Are we live? Are we live? This is the question. Everyone, is that live? Let's turn it up. Oh, that sound is, the audio quality is good. The video quality is also good-ish. We'll take it.
I love good audio, man.
It is so satisfying. Trying. Okay. So JP will be on in about 10 minutes. That's what he just said, right? Did I read that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. JP is wishing his dad, or trying to get on the phone with his dad for Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. So we're going to chill for a few minutes, and then we might start the podcast, like start the recording, start the podcast, and then get him on for NBA review and Desmond Bane trade. But yeah, happy Father's Day. Happy day before my mother's birthday, so happy early birthday to my mom. I got to enjoy a Father's Day lunch with my dad. He cooked, as is the tradition. Oh, I have a graphic up. Whoopsie. Anyway.
Wow. Another strike.
Strike 3. I'm out. See y'all. Have fun without me. No. I got to enjoy Father's Day with my father. Me and my brother went down Friday night and got to be in Jackson with my family. Got to play angle ball yesterday morning, which was super fun. I went 0-3.
That's what I was talking to Win about it.
Me and Win both went. We were on the same team.
Well, I mean, you weren't going to shoot well automatically.
I actually did shoot decently. Win did not. Win shot bad.
Win actually did not shoot great, so he was slandering your name. He said you hit a couple.
I think Win went 2 for 13 or 14.
Well, he said he was really bad too. He didn't.
I was like probably
that.
2 for 7.
Okay.
So I didn't shoot great, no, but I shot way better than him, and I got him open.
Only
a lot.
13 shots across 3 games.
Maybe it was more than that. He only hit.
Well, yeah, he said I mean
3 or 4.
Well, he said you weren't great either. He made sure
I was
that
better
I
than
was.
him. I was better than him.
He also he didn't explicitly say that language, but he did make it sound like that you were better than him.
I had about as many points as him, maybe a couple less on a much lower volume, and I also assisted the majority of his points. We got stuck with what we were told was going to be a top 4 player split. We were told a dude was going to be on our team. He was a top 4 player, and he was not.
Start with a T?
Yes.
Yeah, I've played with him before.
Played pole.
To be fair, though, wasn't Seabass in their top 4?
On the other team? No. On their top 4? Oh, see, I maybe...
Because that's what Win
I was under the assumption that he was a top 4 player out there, not a top 4 on our team. Maybe that's the difference. Okay, never mind.
Well, was he even top 4 on your team?
Was he a top 8 player out there? I don't know. I don't remember who all was out there. I should have just told him I was playing pole because that was kind of an issue for us. I should have just told him I was playing pole. I did enjoy playing top. It was kind of fun. I haven't played top in a long time.
Yeah. Where do you play?
I played top.
Yeah, where do you normally play if you don't?
Pole.
Oh, yeah, because I'm never on your team.
Yeah, me and you are never on the same team.
Yeah.
So I am the new pole player now. I enjoy it. I also really like playing back. I got to play back recently. Not recently, like a year ago, and it was fun. I got to go Morton mode. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would play back, and then out of nowhere, I'd be top for like half possession and get a steal, and then go back to playing back. It's so fun. But yeah, yesterday morning was fun. Got to watch baseball all day yesterday. Super, super fun. I picked Arkansas to the finals, and that was a mistake. I regretted it about the second inning of that LSU-Arkansas game when I was banging my head on the table like, what was I thinking picking Dave Van Horn?
I should have saved you. You
should have. Why did you not stop me?
Well, we're making our picks here. I was going to give you some agency there. I wasn't going to try and influence
No,
anything.
you need to talk sense into me there. That was a bad friend move by you.
Sorry.
Letting me do that, letting me fall like that. You got to be there to support your friends. Yeah, I picked Dave Van Horn to find success in Omaha, and they lost last night. they play again tomorrow against Murray State, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. They will probably beat Murray State, but I don't think they're going to make it to the finals. I still feel good about my Oregon State pick. Oregon State, it was a comeback win yesterday, or not comeback. It was a comeback. It was a walk-off win yesterday. In our group chat, I accidentally sent a duck emoji because
Brutal. That may curse them. That may be the end of the road for them.
I was having a conversation with my family, and baseball was happening, and I was like, "Whoa, let's go Oregon State!" And I just wasn't thinking and trying to do 8 things at once, and actually sent a duck emoji instead of a beaver emoji. You were the only one that called me out. Everyone else, which I'm surprised.
Well, you were really quick to unsend or edit. I don't remember.
But no one else even. I unsent it. I didn't even edit. I unsent it.
I also think that gosh, what was I gonna say? Sorry, the Red Sox just made a massive trade. It's kind of so mine's everywhere now.
You good?
I feel like other things were happening in the chat as well.
Yeah.
Like other things were being. Let me go.
Which I'm grateful for.
I think it kind of helped you get hidden.
I don't remember what was happening because this was yesterday, right?
Now I'm trying to find. No, it must have been.
Was it Friday? Was it the Friday game? No, I swear I can't even remember now. All these games are running together.
I'm looking. I'm trying
to
find a little.
Normally, I get picked on in that group chat, which is fine. I have bad takes sometimes. I also have a lot of hot takes or just overreactive takes because I think overreacting is like I enjoy being excited about things, and so you can call it overreacting. We can call it that. I get excited about stuff.
You sent it mid NBA Finals Game 4.
Which I didn't know was happening because it wasn't the 2 days.
So you sent that in the chat and didn't even notice what we were talking about?
No, not really. I didn't know it was happening until halfway through the second quarter.
So you sent that tweet, which I'm not going to be able to find it again, but I responded and said, Crazy going to text their rival's mascot.
Yeah.
And then immediately after I said Obi, because Obi Toppin had hit back-to-back threes.
Yes.
To give a little 6-point swing, and then we just kept talking about so you dodged a bullet in that regard.
I did. I got very lucky, and it was an honest mistake that I am not going to dwell on. But I felt pretty bad I picked them to win the Natty, and I don't even know their mascot. I do know their mascot. I swear, I know every mascot of every team in Omaha this season, including the Racers and the Chanticleers. Now learned about them. But yeah, I usually get dogged on that chat because I have hot takes, if that's what you want to call them. So I was very grateful that I dodged that one, and did not get dogged on too much. And then couldn't fall asleep last night till 4 a.m.
Brutal.
For some reason. I think I ate way too much pizza. We went to Aplos last night for dinner.
Aplos is pretty gas. How much pizza did you eat?
I think I ate a pizza.
Okay, but that's like I eat that every time I go to Aplos.
I also normally do. I don't know what was up with my body last night. Could not fall asleep and it wasn't like I felt bad. It was just like I knew something was off. Do you ever have that happen? Okay, so like
yeah,
kind of. It's not like you're holding it's not like you have like an aching stomach or something.
You just feel weird.
You just feel like I am uncomfortable right now. And I don't know why. Anyway, as a result, did not fall asleep till 4 a.m. Woke up at 8:15 as my family was getting ready for church, and I was like, guys, I don't think I'm gonna make it. And they were like, that's okay. Slept till they got home at 11:30.
Massive.
So that's
it was needed.
It was needed. Especially post Angle Ball. I did take a nap that afternoon, which might have been. I struggle to go to sleep if I nap. I'm not gonna lie.
Fair. 4 a.m.'s tough though.
Yeah, watched a lot of Big Bang Theory.
What season you in now?
This is my third rewatch. I'm halfway through season 6.
How many seasons are there?
12, I believe.
Gotcha. Jeez, third rewatch is crazy.
Yeah, it and Friends. I alternate. Whenever I need a show to throw in on the background that I can like know and tune out, except when I'm like, if I'm like when I'm working on like graphics for the podcast and stuff, I can be working and just lock in and then kind of take a step back and watch like 3 minutes of Big Bang Theory, and then not be like, I have to keep watching to see how it ends because I know how it ends. So stayed up till 4 a.m. last night and then made the drive back up this afternoon to be here in time to help you move.
Appreciate the help.
Yep.
Yeah.
Moving that couch up those stairs had me stressing.
There was a moment I thought we were going to drop it over.
There was a moment where at least a third of the couch was suspended out over a balcony. And it might have been more than a third.
Sure. Yeah, the lease started on my fiance's new apartment June 10th. So Monday, I guess, or something like that.
Probably, yeah. I'd guess.
But I was out of town, so we started moving
You
stuff
should have
in
had me and Win go pick it up.
this weekend.
We've picked up the key.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Y'all maybe could have, but we don't know. It worked out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've spent the whole weekend moving stuff in post getting back from vacation, which was a ton of fun. The vacation was a ton of fun. Moving's been exciting because like it's gonna be the place I live with my future wife, which is pretty dope.
Yeah.
But it's moving, so it's
The
not exactly
so distant future.
Yeah.
Sometime in July.
Under a month.
July 12th, right?
Yeah.
Let's go. Win said it
job.
earlier today, so that's why I'm able to remember.
JP's calling, so
Let's go, JP.
welcome to the stream, JP. Hold on,
you
you're
are
not
not
connected for
connected.
some reason.
We are.
Try it now.
Just all right. You're in, JP.
What's up, man?
Nothing much. I was just talking about moving into the apartment this weekend, trying to get everything set up. Sanders helped me with a couch this afternoon. Sanders and Win, which was good because we had to get it up a flight of stairs, a pretty narrow external flight of stairs were also wet.
I felt pretty proud when I had one end of the couch and you and Win had the other.
Okay, well,
I was kind of cooking.
Lucy's dad balled out when we turned the corner, and he
he
gets
just
under.
kinda
He
got
gets
under
under
it
the
and just-
couch, and puts it on his
We just
back.
pivoted on his
and
back.
so we just pivoted on his back, and he rotated, and it
Yeah,
was
I
perfect.
take it back. I can't. I have no right to be
You
proud.
you did good too, but he made the clutch move to get us around that corner.
Yep, he did.
And I was like, "Is your back good?" He was like, "Yeah, it's great." I was like, "Perfect." Because imagine he just throws out his back,
Ugh.
and then he went right back to finishing our TV stand that he built for us.
True.
So
Wait, did he build it just for this, or he already built it?
no, he built it just for this. He was like, "I want to build y'all something for y'all's apartment."
That's awesome.
So he built us a TV stand.
Is he the handy guy you were talking about?
When did I mention handy guy?
You said because when we were talking about the new studio, we were like, oh, we've all got a handy guy. We can build stuff.
No, I don't think I was
I
talking
gotta
about
call you
him.
back. My dad's calling me.
Oh,
Okay,
do it.
you're
Go
good.
talk to your dad.
You're
Tell him
good.
Happy Father's Day. We're vibing, so just call us back whenever.
Um,
Also, Tucker, let's not talk about the Devers trade to the Giants because if it is a big deal, let's save it for the podcast.
well, I think we started the podcast.
Okay,
We can
let's-
kick it off with that. I don't think JP will care too much.
That's fine.
If he misses that. If so, he can get mad at me later. But
All right, go ahead and start the music.
what is up, guys? Welcome back to the Technical Fowl podcast. We're back in studio for y'all, minus JP. He will be calling in a couple minutes. He's currently on the phone with his dad, wishing his dad a happy Father's Day, which happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Mhm.
But yeah, good to be here as always. Sanders, how's your weekend been?
The whole week. I haven't seen you in a week because you've been on the family vacation.
That's true. We did talk Wednesday, but yeah,
Oh,
how's your week been? I know you kind of just chilled here and then went to Jackson.
Yeah, I spent time in Starkville, worked doing my part-time job in the mornings, and then have been doing some prep work for the new studio because it's going to be in my house. We've got a spare bedroom. We're turning into the new Technical Fowl podcast studio, which is super exciting. So did some prep work there, some measuring, some scheming, trying to figure out what it's going to look like. And then me and my brother played our board game. We are now tied 1-1. I won the first game. The first game, actually, let me give you a play-by-play here. I'm going to nerd out about it's called Axis and Allies. It's a World War II board game.
Mm-hmm.
The board map size is, I believe, 5 foot by 3 foot.
Dang.
So it fills up a table, a
Yeah.
full-size dining room table. And, each country and regions of countries are separated to allow you to move your troops through. And it's turn-based, so I was playing as the Allies powers, and there's 7 Allies powers, 3 Axis powers. Win is cooking me. He's dominating, and I get lucky, and I basically take Denmark with the United States, and then because he assumed that he was going to be able to protect that sea, the Baltic Sea, I believe it's called, he left Germany undefended. I take it with the United States. Britain moves in, lands in Berlin. I take Berlin. And when you take a country, you take all their resources.
And since he only has 3,
And so he was going to be able to take Berlin back, but he was going to be delayed a turn in producing more troops because he had no resources. He surrendered. So I was probably going to lose. And then
wait, but why did he surrender then? Or is he going to lose at that point?
he was
on?
going to lose from that point on.
Gotcha.
Because I took Berlin. So that was I actually felt really bad because
But he's
not bad,
It doesn't
but-
sound like you got lucky. It sounds like he blundered.
he was a little frustrated because it is a little. The way it works is it goes. The turn base is Germany, Russia, Japan, United States, China, Great Britain, Italy, Australia, France.
Uh-huh.
And so there's four allied powers, United States, China, Great Britain. So there's two major allied powers that get to go back to back.
Uh-huh.
And so if you kind of are at a disadvantage if you're playing as the Axis because...
But they get to go back to back to back, right?
No, they go... it goes Germany, Russia, Japan. So they don't get to go back to back.
Yeah.
But you you can manipulate it to you also have that advantage some. He just kind of got cooked by it.
Gotcha.
And it was literally he was not dominating me, but he was gonna win. And we kind of ended up in a spot where I was like moving up, and I was like, "Oh crap, yeah, you're gonna lose." And he was like, "What?" Like it wasn't like I even planned it. I was just like, "Oh, I'm just gonna take this country." And then I was like, "Oh, you're losing like my next turn. Like this game's over." So that's how it went. And then the next game, we got into it. We switched where I was playing the Axis, and I tried a very different strategy from him that didn't work the best. If he sees this, I still think it can work. I think I could beat you again if we did it. I played very conservative as the Axis powers, and ended up. It came down to I was attacking Egypt, and I thought I forgot to send a troop. And I lost by one. And it ended up with no troops remaining on either side. So if I had sent that extra troop, I would have taken it. And then I'm sitting there, and I go, "Oh crap! I forgot to move my guy from this other country." And Win goes, "Yeah,
Too late."
And I left in frustration. I wasn't even mad that I lost. I was just mad that I forgot because I'd already planned it.
Yeah.
I was just very mad at myself. And then I literally went back and folded my laundry and like cleaned my bedroom for 15 minutes, and then came back in, and I was like. He was like, "If you want to have Egypt," I was like, "I mean, at this point, I'm going to lose. I surrender." He said, "If you want to have Egypt, you can have it. We'll keep playing." And then he ended up beating me anyway. So now we're tied 1-1. That's your little Axis and Allies breakdown. It's not a sport, but it is a competition. So that was how I spent my week, is doing work. And then in the evenings, Wynn's girlfriend is on a study abroad. And so he has no one else to hang out with. So
man, bunch of
just
loners.
me and him. Yeah, me and him were vibing. Bachelor week for us. No, you with your fiance, no brother's girlfriend. So bachelor week was pretty fun. So yeah, we had an awesome week hanging out, watching. We watched all the Phineas and Ferb. Did you get to watch them yet?
I've seen a couple. I've not finished yet.
They are, man. We're just talking about everything today. I'm enjoying it. They are all right. They're all right. There's definitely moments. It definitely feels the animation feels different.
Yeah.
I think I prefer the old animation, and maybe that's just nostalgia. Like maybe if this is all I knew, I wouldn't mind it, but it feels a little odd. So
makes sense.
Do you want to get into the sports version of the podcast while we wait for JP?
Yeah, we can. So JP will be on any minute, and the main things on the docket for the show are Game 4 reactions of the NBA Finals, Thunder's Pacers. Desmond Bane got traded this morning, somewhat surprisingly, to the Orlando Magic, so we'll break down that trade. And then U.S. Open is happening right now in some bad weather, and we'll talk about that to kind of end the show. But that's JP's wheelhouse. He's also a big basketball guy, so we're not going to talk about any of that till JP joins. What did just happen in an absolutely shocking move is the Red Sox, who just swept the Yankees this weekend, are the winners of 8 of their past 10. Very hot. Just traded the face of their franchise in Rafael Devers to the San Francisco Giants for Jordan Hicks and a couple prospects, I believe. We're still kind of waiting on the full details of the package. Devers is fantastic, has been great this year after a slow start, is really the engine for this team. It doesn't, surface level wise, it doesn't make, this is kind of, my reaction, but surface level, it doesn't make sense to trade him when you're hot. You're looking like you're probably going to make the playoffs. You have this guy under contract, so it's not even a contract issue. And then he has 6 years, $250 million left on his deal. He's not the best defender, so I don't know how well that contract would have aged. But right now, he's very much worth the contract. Under surface level, however, there's just been pretty constant tension between him and the Red Sox front office, of like them being like, "Hey, you're not a good fielder. We may try and play someone else at third," and him being like, "Yeah, I'm not playing anywhere else but third." Just stuff like that. That has just kind of ruffled, I think, the front office's feathers to the point, I guess, where they decided to, despite their winning ways and despite him being a big part of it, pull the trigger and trade him and not really get a great package back. This feels like the Luka trade on a smaller scale. Nothing will ever be as, world shocking and just jaw dropping as the Luka trade. But in terms of watching these Red Sox fans react to it on Twitter, just in complete shock and just being stunned at the guy they love, the face of their franchise, like I said, all of a sudden shipped off for not really a great return, in my opinion. Jordan Hicks has been fine this year. I don't know tons about the prospects. James Tibbs is an outfielder prospect. Kyle Harrison. So I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. It's very in the moment. So I'll have to do more research on these prospects, and I'm sure we'll get a report coming out later about why exactly the Red Sox did this. But it is very, very surprising.
Yeah, I'm not a huge MLB guy. I'm trying to get more into it. I want to get into it more than I want to get into the NBA. So I do think the MLB is pretty cool. But it looks like it makes a lot of sense for the Giants and not as much the Red Sox. Like
the Giants are I didn't really talk about the Giants side of things. So yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, the Giants are the one game behind in the NL West,
and they play the Dodgers tonight.
What do we think the trade? You think like 2-3 days before?
He won't play tonight.
No,
he could suit up tomorrow maybe, but
yeah. That is one of the cool things about baseball that you don't really see in in football. Well, not cool things. I guess a player traded midweek is going to make his appearance, but like it's just
a pretty quick turnaround.
It's a very quick turnaround in baseball. Whereas in football, you might have a whole week of preparation or a bye week, or even sitting out a game. But in baseball, not that baseball is not difficult, but it's much more of an individual island-based sport.
Sure.
And so if you're good at playing third base, you're most likely to be good at playing third base on any team. Or if you're good at hitting, you're going to be good at hitting.
There's not as much adapting to scheme and stuff like that.
Correct.
Sure.
Or building chemistry. Unless maybe like you're like a shortstop second baseman, there might be some there. But
yeah, I mean, but it is good if you're like vibes in the clubhouse and stuff.
But it seems to make a lot of sense for the Giants to kind of add another piece to a team that's already competing in the NL West, and also capitalizing on maybe a weak Dodgers roster currently with all the injuries they've been facing.
It's still very good.
It is still
but it's
good
not
roster.
at their full power because of all the injuries. You are correct.
And then also, I think what many people thought would be the second team in that division, the Padres, don't seem to be playing up to their potential in every game. There's some issues with their star Fernando Tatis. So
saw Jackson Merrill got hurt last night as well.
He did,
and he's also not been hitting great.
People were
recently.
overreacting to that. People were like, oh my gosh, his neck, look at that, and then other people were like, it's a concussion, like it's not ideal.
He just got bopped on the head.
He got bopped on the head, like he might miss some time, but this is not anything to freak out about. I'm not super worried about it. They just got the win again today. Unlike your team,
it happens.
We can hit on the Braves while we wait for JP. We're just killing time until JP gets.
Yeah, I mean the Braves have struggled. We lost 10-1 today, despite our starter striking out 15.
Through how many innings?
6.
6 innings.
6 and a third, maybe, and struck out.
How
15.
many earned runs did he have?
1. He gave 2 runs. He gave 1 unearned, or gave 1 unearned, 1 earned. I will say the unearned run he gave up was because of an error that he committed.
Mm-hmm.
So like it is his fault, even though he didn't get the earned run. It's not like the second baseman bobbled an easy play or anything. He had a fielding error and then a throwing error on the same play.
Interesting.
So,
so y'all were. It was a 2-1 ball game, 2-0.
It was 2-0, and then he gave up a single or a walk, and we brought in a reliever, and the wheels fell off there, and all of a sudden it was 5-1, and then our manager for some reason decided to punt the game by bringing in our worst reliever against the worst team in baseball. I don't know. I would have liked to potentially try and get those outs, and I think we had
give your offense a chance.
We had 9 outs to work with.
Yeah.
And be like, this team is terrible. They're historically bad. Let's try and make a comeback. But no, he sends in the worst reliever, and all of a sudden it's 10-1 before the inning's over. At that point, successful punt, and then Ronald Acuna gets pulled, and this pinch hit for stuff like that.
I just tried turning up the ESPN app, not YouTube. So.
Tough. But yeah, another thing I thought was funny about this trade, I believe, so Kyle Harrison is in the trade, and I believe he was slated to start the game for the Giants tonight.
Devers was?
No, Kyle Harrison.
Oh,
was supposed to be the starting pitcher for the Giants tonight. So it was like mid warm-ups, and then got shipped off, which is pretty funny.
What other?
Oh, dang, the Red Sox and Giants play this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Sadly, in San Francisco. I really wish Devers going back to Fenway. I would have loved to see how that played out. But yeah, they play this weekend, so that'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's not a trade. Like I said, not a trade I saw coming. It feels about as shocking as the Luka trade.
Yeah.
But it's baseball, not basketball, and as good as Devers is, he's not Luka. So it's
While
not
we're
quite
talking
the same.
about baseball, College Baseball World Series is going into day 3.
My Chanticleers.
The Chanticleers are up 3-0 in the top of the. Wow, they put up 3 runs in the first. I'm gonna have this on going in the background. Actually,
Sure.
I'm gonna go ahead and put that on. So shout out the Chanticleers. But it's not looking good for my finals picks on one half at least, and it didn't look good from the minute I picked them. That was a mistake. I picked Arkansas versus Oregon State. I believe in Oregon State to come out of that side of the bracket, and I picked Arkansas because I wanted to see the rematch. And that was a mistake because Arkansas does not succeed in Omaha. And I know this, and I don't know. I chose to ignore it for some reason. And then I was talking to Jack before the show, and he said, yeah, I almost said something. And I said, well, you should have, because that was picking Arkansas to win in Omaha was wrong. And they lost to LSU last night. I expect them to beat Murray State tomorrow, but I do not expect them to come out of that side of the bracket. So, yeah, my pick may have been cooked from the beginning. But we shall see. I still have Oregon State as my champion. I'm writing Arkansas off at this point, and if I am wrong, then at least I will have been right about my pick. So I can't lose at this point.
Sure.
Because my overreaction might end up being my saving grace. Who knows? We'll see.
It is, yeah, it's fair. So I was looking at the box score this game.
Yeah.
And they scored 3 runs on 1 hit.
Oh.
There was an error. I saw Oregon State committed an error, but I guess just
Yeah. Let's go see the play
bases clearing double. So I guess a walk, a hit, or 2 walks.
We've had
An error, walk, hit by pitch, double. Welcome back, JP.
Am I in the ears?
You are.
You are in the ears.
And we are.
We're live, and we started the podcast.
Yeah, we've been talking baseball.
We talked about the Rafael Devers trade because I figured you wouldn't have too much to say on that.
Yeah, I don't know enough. I know Rafael Devers is good. That's about the extension that I know on that. I know. But, the Giants, they're playing really well this year. They're tied with the Dodgers for the best record
One game
in the NL
behind,
West.
I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they lost last night. But they're right there, neck and neck.
Yep.
So, yeah, they have no reason to not go for big moves like that.
Makes perfect sense for the Giants. Makes almost no sense for the Red Sox. You're not going to agree with this. I equated it to the Luka trade on a much smaller scale in the sense of because Devers isn't the same player as Luka, but just an absolute shocker trade. More so the comparison is just like seeing all the Red Sox fans just freak out on Twitter, stunned and in disbelief that the face of their franchise got traded. I'm not trying to say that Rafael Devers is a Luka type impact on his sport, but yeah.
I would just say then it's an absolute shocker. Don't even bring up Luka's name.
Well, yeah, I mean, I knew. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to agree, but also you're not a baseball. I don't know. I just think about the big Barstool guy, Jared, and then even Bill Simmons. Like everyone is just on Twitter, just can't believe that because they've won 8 of 10. They just swept the Yankees.
Yeah,
they're riding a high from this weekend, and then it just gets ripped out as Rafael Devers, Rafi Big Scoops is gone. So
I mean, they rode that high to. I mean, they're 4th in the East. 6.5 games behind the Yankees after sweeping them. Yeah, my Orioles.
The big thing, they're above
there.
500 though. There's 3 wild card spots.
Yeah.
And they're playing their best baseball. So
they are.
Did they get good prospects or?
They got and this was what's another interesting thing is they got a couple prospects. They also got a couple major league ready arms. 2 guys that are actually currently on the Red Sox team, and Jordan Hicks and Kyle Harrison. So it's like they know they're good, so they didn't want to completely reload. And I told Sanders, there's been kind of a constant tension between Devers and the Red Sox front office about him not wanting to play anywhere but third base, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I just don't think anyone, I guess, realized that it had gotten to the point that they would just kind of ship him off like this. But I guess it had. I mean, we'll get an article or something to give us the full story later, I'm sure. But that's my current kind of thought process and reasoning behind it.
They were already an insanely young team. So I think maybe that because of that, I mean, because that was a huge story. Like for even me, who's not a big baseball guy, I know about that story and about those rumblings.
Yeah.
So I think maybe the front office thinks that, like, yeah, sure, this season's going well, but we have a chance to potentially continue to add young talent and really kind of reshape and go into a new era of the Boston Red Sox. That why not take this opportunity now?
Sure. That definitely,
especially when I think the price would be cheaper for Rafael Devers the more you wait, because if you get towards the trade deadline, the Giants are getting him for less games.
Sure.
So there's less that they're going to give up.
Now it is he's on a 6-year deal, so it's not like this is a rental for the Giants or anything like that. They honestly, and just I think it's a big thing too, in my opinion, and lots of others, is they didn't really get a good haul for him.
Yeah.
But you are right. I mean, Roman Anthony just got called up by the Red Sox. He was a top prospect in baseball. They've called up a couple other guys that are top 100 prospects this season. So it does kind of feel like maybe a bit of a changing of the guard. But they better hope they're right, because he was beloved by the Red Sox fans. So do we want to...
We shall see.
Roll into...
Hop into what was actually scheduled for the show before this trade went down?
Yeah, breaking news. You heard it here first. Devers.
Nowhere
to the
close to
Giants.
here first. I think Robert Murray broke the news on Twitter. So that's why you got to be on Twitter, man. It's where the sporting news breaks.
True. I kind of live on Twitter now. It's really sad, but also really fun, because there's some fun
Pros and
news out
cons. Pros and cons, man.
there. Yeah, for sure. All right, NBA playoffs first.
Do you want JP? You want to talk about NBA playoffs first or Desmond Bane trade?
We can do. Let's do the NBA. Shoot, I don't know. I'm watching the U.S. Open the last 5 holes live, but let's do the NBA Finals.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Let's do that.
Game 4 was Wednesday night in Indianapolis. Pacers had a 2-1 series lead. They no longer have a 2-1 series lead. Series is now tied. Whereas for most of that game, or a lot of that game, especially third quarter, start of fourth, it really felt like the Pacers were about to take a shocking 3-1 series lead against the Thunder. And then the Thunder kind of, strapped in, locked in, kind of just managed to... Their defense showed up, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Their defense showed up, and Shea showed up. Shea had a very pedestrian to bad, for his standards, first 3 quarters. The refs were letting the boys play. Whistles were swallowed. I thought there were missed fouls on both sides. But regardless, Shea wasn't great to his standards, and then he's phenomenal down the stretch in fourth quarter, getting ISO buckets. Doesn't really look like anyone can guard him. Neesmith can't guard him. But really, I think the Pacers scored 1 field goal in the final 4 minutes or something like that.
Yep.
But anyway, the Pacers team that had been so clutch these playoffs, were just completely stun locked down the stretch. Couldn't get anything going, and the Thunder turned that into offense and steal a game on the road to regain home field advantage, rolling into Game 5 back in OKC. I thought it was a big statement, as people were starting, myself kind of included, were starting to question, wow, is this team that we said is so elite going to lose to this Pacers team, going to go down 3-1? And it just kind of really they had lost some of their mojo. But as we'd seen them do multiple times in these playoffs, they've answered the bell almost every time. They've gotten up off the mat every time, and they punched right back and win a big game to even the series. What were your thoughts on the game, JP?
I agree with that last part a ton. I said this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. I watched this game twice, actually. The first time I watched it, I only remember the fourth quarter. I was with my buddies, and there were some beverages being drank. But I remember the fourth quarter, and man, it was electric. Even in Elvira Cruz in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Hype.
It was very hype in there for the NBA Finals, and Yeah, the OKC's defense showed up the fourth.
Could you tell if it was a
SGA showed up in
Pacers
the
or a
fourth.
Thunder crowd?
It was. I think it was just an NBA crowd,
Okay,
which I think
okay.
is how this finals has felt, even for me as a Thunder fan. That like this is like just a people's series. Like we just want to see good basketball,
And we have.
we have seen excellent basketball through 4 games. SGA was huge in the fourth. I watched that fourth. I slightly under the influence at that point, but when I watched it the first time, everything felt so clutch and so big in the moment. And when I went back and watched it, it didn't necessarily have the same like energy to it. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Sure.
The shots, besides SGA's 3, the shots didn't necessarily feel very clutch. It felt like the first time it felt like they were trading punches, but then I realized they were not trading punches at all. It was a complete Thunder dominance.
Yeah.
In that fourth quarter. SGA 15 in the fourth. Pacers only scored 17. It's a complete opposite of the way the fourth quarter played in Game 3. The Pacers outscored the Thunder 32-18, and this fourth it was 31-17 OKC. And they answered the bell as I expected them to do, and as they've done in every single series. They have now won Game 4 after losing Game 3 in the last 3 series on the road. And this young team is showing that they're not necessarily this young team. They're proven, they're driven, they can step up when they need to.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we've watched this Game 4 in all 3 of those series, this one, it specifically reminded me of Game 4 in the Denver series, where it felt like all the momentum was with that home team and the Pacers and the Nuggets, and it felt like the Thunder were dead and that this was about to go the wrong way for them. And then what they did was they just came back, and this is something Caruso has mentioned a ton. They just relied on their defense. They relied on who they were, and they locked down the Pacers in that fourth quarter, and they really made them struggle. I mean, 1 field goal in those last 5 minutes. Benedict Mathurin goes to the foul line and misses 4 free throws. And the SGA comes down on the other side and just hits huge shots, gets to the foul line because he was fouled, not because he was foul baiting or anything. You can't put your hand on a dude's shooting arm in any capacity. That's a foul.
Yeah.
In today's NBA.
Neesmith looked really poor down the stretch, and that was about the dumbest thing he could have done because, yeah, I just like how do you any good player, as soon as you put your hand on their shooting arm, is just gonna shoot and they're gonna get the call because it's a foul. I think that's one thing I almost never understand is like how are you gonna set up in the position to foul? Like you basically have already fouled at that point. I don't know.
I think it's really hard, and I think what we lose as perspective watching these games so much is that defending these players is incredibly difficult. These are the most skilled basketball players in the world. I mean, think of when you go and hoop at the Sanderson, you're playing with an ex-JUCO guy, and he just lights you up. That guy is closer to your skill than anybody would ever be to these NBA guys.
By a large margin.
Yeah, I'd say he's closer to.
I guess I'm just saying is like I get how hard it is, so why are you giving the guy that's so hard to guard freebies?
Because if you don't contest well enough, like they're gonna knock down the shot.
Sure.
These are guys that make 80% of their shots in warm-ups, and uncontested is essentially a warm-up jumper for them. And especially the MVP of the league, like you gotta try to contest in some capacity. And realistically, in the long run, it may almost be more effective to foul him than it is to let him have the wide open mid-range jumper, because that's 2 guaranteed points versus he's got to shoot 2 free throws to get the 2.
Yeah, I think in my eyes, though, it almost wasn't even like in the flow. I mean, it is in the flow of the game, but it was almost like a size up. And Neesmith is like just reaches out, puts his hand on his shoulder. Like, it wasn't even like he was scrambling or anything. It just seemed like a blatant mistake in my part, which I get. Like, it's still so difficult. I'm not trying to take it away, but I just think in that position, Neesmith, who's been heralded as this really good defender, just does that, and it's really frustrating to see. And then also the discourse around it sucks as well. So
I think it undermines how good SGA is. I think even an elite defender as Aaron Neesmith is, SGA is the MVP of the league. He's going to beat Neesmith at times, and he beat him in the fourth quarter multiple times.
yeah, I mean,
So
he wanted that
I
switch. He was
wouldn't chalk it
switching
up
off
to-
Nimhard to get on Neesmith, which was like a complete 180 from where we had been. But
Sure. SGA saw food and he wanted to go get it. That's what an MVP does. That's what a future champion does. And SGA did that in the fourth quarter. I wouldn't chalk it up to Neesmith being dumb or anything. I would just say Neesmith got beat, and that's going to happen.
yeah, I think we're.
MVP of the league.
I mean, I agree. It was a statement from Shea. I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one play right there, because I think that was not Shea beating Neesmith. That play to me was Neesmith beating Neesmith.
Sure.
Other things about the game, just kind of thinking back on it and watching, and also I'd like to point out, I said this game happened on Wednesday. That's incorrect. It happened on Friday. I was on vacation, so days don't really exist, or days of the week don't really exist on vacation. Caruso was phenomenal in this game, especially in the first three quarters where the Thunder didn't have much going. He ended up finishing with 20 and had 5 steals. Just massive minutes from Caruso, and he's had massive minutes this whole postseason, but I thought it was almost at another level last night. Chet, I think, locked in down the stretch as the whole team did. But then just other trends and stats from this game. The Thunder had to be so great defensively because aside from Shea, they were not really scoring. I mean, they hit 3 threes all game, which is for modern NBA is insane. They only shot 16, so it's not like they went 3 for 30 or something insane like that, but 18% from 3. Shea finishes with no assists for the first time in 5 years, which I think just also once again highlights that it had to be him down the stretch. He had to step up, and he did. But just from looking at the numbers standpoint, it's kind of shocking that OKC won the game. It doesn't actually really feel like that watching it because of how good their defense was. And I think that's what I'm trying to highlight is just how magical almost their defense was down the stretch, and it had to be.
Sure. Three threes is an insane stat. Andrew asked the question, one of our friends, during the game, can OKC win this game by hitting so few threes? And I told him yes. This is something that they can do. It's something that they have done this season. They're that good defensively. Now, 3, though, is I didn't expect them to finish out with 3. At that time, it was around halftime. They had 1 3-point made. Their lowest this season so far is 8. In fact, they won 6 games this season, hitting less than 10 threes in a game, which still by NBA standards today is insane. I didn't expect them to finish with 3, but I knew that they defensively were good enough to win a game where they didn't hit as many threes. And
Sure.
when you look at their team, they're not a big 3-point shooting team. There is not one guy in that starting 5 that's known for hitting threes. There's not really one guy off the bench that's known for hitting threes. So this is kind of their style of basketball. They are a defend, force turnover, push in the fast break. On the offensive end, they play through SGA, and then they play in the pick and roll game. They play the lob game really well with Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein. And they're a pick and pop. Really, the only guy that is technically known for shooting threes and making threes is Lou Dort. And we've talked about that, where he is a guy we don't really want him shooting threes at times because he shoots some bad ones. But he's the only guy that's his offensive go-to move is to shoot a 3.
Which props to him. He shot it pretty well so far, kind of recently in the playoffs. I still do not want him taking a shot, but he's hit some big ones. I mean, he hit one of the 3 in Friday's game. So
Yeah, I mean, Isaiah Joe is really the only guy that's going to shoot a ton of threes, and he's been playing less than 5 minutes a game this series. So this is something they can do. They're that good defensively, and they are great still in the half court, as they showed down the stretch in the fourth quarter, that hitting 3 threes is not going to phase this team.
Yeah.
Which if they were to win the championship would be crazy. It'd be an insane parallel to the Celtics that won it last year, where you had a team that was basically only known for hitting threes. With this OKC team, it's defense. Threes is really last on the table.
And going back to the Isaiah Joe playing, he only got 5 minutes in Game 4. I think that tells you exactly how they feel about hitting threes. They don't view it as a necessity, right? Because Isaiah Joe's not the best defender, so that's why he doesn't play. Whereas some teams would be like, well, this guy isn't the best defender, but he's our best shooter, so like we have to find him minutes. OKC's like, nah, we'll just rely on our defense to win these games, and we'll find other ways to score, which, like you said, it's a very different stylistic or just, basketball philosophy from the mainstream stuff, like the Celtics shooting 63s in a game and stuff like that. All right, going into Game 5, JP, how do you see Game 5 playing out? Do you see the Pacers responding, even if they don't win the game? Do you think they can kind of bounce back from a pretty brutal loss at home, all things considered? I know they weren't up by like 15 or anything like that, but it really felt like they let that game slip away. I know they're probably viewing it as such, even though it really was OKC played just phenomenally down the stretch. But you could even kind of see it on some of the guys' faces, even as the final whistle blows and Howley just he looked pretty defeated. Personally, I expect them to bounce back. But what do you expect to see in Game 5?
Well, Game 4 was a must-win for the Pacers, in my opinion. I thought winning Game 4 was the only chance they had to win this series. But that kind of flipped, and I said it. When OKC grabbed that lead late in the fourth quarter, I thought it then became a must-win for OKC to have a chance in this series, because they had to fight, tooth and nail to get back into this game and to hit as little threes as they had, and to get 20 points from Caruso. They needed to close that game out, and they did. So in Game 5, I expect them to play better, especially the other guys. Shea, without Alex Caruso, like SGA and Jalen Williams were really the only guys that were really productive. Chet Holmgren had some huge offensive rebound putbacks in the fourth quarter, but outside of that, he wasn't a threat. And their next leading scorer had 6 points with Lou Dort. So I expect the role players to play a lot better. I expect them to shoot the three better because of that. I mean, they shot 18% from three.
Kind of hard to replicate that.
Yeah, and we look back on Game 2, like Aaron Wiggins hit 5 threes, and Lou Dort hit a couple, and Kaysen Wallace did.
And they're also going home, and role players play better at home. So
correct. I expect that to be something to return in Game 5, and because of that, and because of the confidence that OKC got with how well they played defensively in the fourth quarter, and that crowd is going to be electric, I don't see a way where the Pacers win this game outside of what they did in Game 1, which is pull off a miracle. And I really feel like that's the only way they win a game on the road going forward in this series, is pull off a miracle, which is why I thought Game 4 was a must-win for them. So I think OKC wins this. I think they're going to win by 10+. I think they're going to play with a ton of energy. A big problem for the Pacers is because they're so reliant on being productive offensively, that when they get in a spot where like they want to set the tone and bring the momentum and respond, they have to be able to shoot the ball well for that to even be a possibility. They can't just say, all right, we're going to give 100% effort on defense, because they're not good enough defensively outside of guys like Nesmith and Nimhard. They aren't good enough defensively to do that together as a team and shut down a team and take over a game. And they especially aren't good enough to do that on the road. So I just don't see how the Pacers can punch OKC in the mouth in Game 5 unless they were to shoot the three ball at a very high rate and shoot it at a very productive rate. So Thunder by 10, Pacers' only chance is to win on another miracle, another one of their comebacks, or OKC just, for whatever reason, doesn't get the production out of their role players that I expect them to get.
Sure. I kind of agree. I think OKC wins this game. I will say, you're talking about the Pacers needing a miracle. They're very good at finding miracles and performing miracles. But yeah, it's OKC at home where they've been so great. They defend really well at home. I don't know. I feel like that mojo they found at the end of Game 4 is going to roll over, and this may be just a game where they're suffocating from the jump defensively, and they jump out to a pretty big lead. I completely agree that the Pacers are going to have to hit shots to answer, and that's not as reliable as good defense. So I like OKC in Game 5 to take a 3-2 series lead.
I'm going to stick with picking the Pacers. I had my victory text prepared. I was about to be like, we're up 3-2, go Pacers. I'm 3-1 in my, or not 3-2, 3-1. I was about to be like, I'm 3-1 in my NBA Finals picks. Then they ended up losing that game late. So glad I didn't start doing my victory lap early, but I will pick the Pacers again. They've already won once in OKC. They've beat OKC twice this postseason to show, like, they've shown that they can beat the Thunder. So I'm going to pick them to win in Game 5. It was a really tough loss, but sorry, I'm watching this baseball game while I was trying to talk. I think that the Thunder I think both teams are going to be exhausted going into this next game. Because it was the Thunder had to expend so much energy to get back and come back and win that game in the fourth quarter. So, and then the Pacers are just going to be emotionally exhausted because they had the lead in their home arena and lost it.
Yeah.
So
it does help they get 2 days off.
Correct.
But I will say, talking about, I think the Pacers are going to need borderline a miracle to win it. I think one of the reasons this series has been so fun, in theory, and it's also played out this way, is these have been two of the best teams at responding in these playoffs, both in game and then from game to game. They just kind of have that swagger that's required to do that. So it is interesting to see if the Pacers can punch right back. I don't necessarily see it happening, but if there is a team that I think could lose a game like they did in Game 4 and go on the road to the best team in the NBA and put up a good fight, it's the Pacers. So I think we can move on to Desmond Bane.
hold on, before we do that, can
Sure.
I just give a quick, I just want to spend 2 minutes on what's happened in this baseball game already, and then we can go back to that, and then maybe come back to baseball later. Have you been watching this?
I saw the Coastal Carolina error, which
Did you see
ended
the
up.
base running error?
I did not see what I saw. He got thrown out at third.
There's a guy on second, and there's a line drive to the shortstop who misplays it. It was like a one hop at his feet, and he misplays it. But for some reason, the guy standing on second, hesitates and then just stands there and watches him and gets tagged out. So it's been 2 big errors by Coastal Carolina, one on offense, one on defense. Great baseball game.
The defense one didn't end up really mattering, I don't think, because the guy they had running was slow as dirt.
Yeah. It would have been a single, and he would not
Sure.
be on third. But it really doesn't matter that much, unless we have a pass ball or something here. But let's move on to Desmond Bane. I just wanted to
Sure.
update that.
There was a question in the chat, not a question, but talking about Braves in the chat that I wanted to answer.
I've been answering that a little bit. Or
Snicker's going to retire at the end of the
Take it away.
season is what I wanted to say to answer. Kind of, if you maybe even asked it, if you thought that they would fire him.
Yeah.
He's going to retire at the end of the season. I think that's the biggest reason he's not been fired mid-season is he's been at the org for 50 years.
Yeah.
And they want to kind of give him the respect of just retiring in the offseason on his own terms.
Yeah.
That's what I fully expect
Yes.
to happen. That's what
Update
everyone expects
For
to happen.
the podcast listeners and not those in the live stream, Tucker said earlier, I get that SNIT, is it SNIT, S-N-I-T, is over the hill, but it blows my mind the Braves are this bad. And I asked, well, do you think he'll be the manager next season? And Tucker said, if he is, I think it would be the Braves, saying they don't care about winning with this core, which I didn't realize. I think because the Braves are so bad, I kind of assume that y'all don't have a good core. No offense to the Braves, but normally when a team loses,
Sure.
I was like, other than Acuna, who do you have? But when you think about it, you'll have a really good team with Olsen and
Austin Riley, Michael
and
Harris,
Acuna.
Ozzie Albies, which a lot of these core guys have been underperforming, which does kind of start to ask the question of, is this core really that good? But
Correct.
we won 100 games in 2022 and 2023, and then we were just brutally injured last year.
And you let 2 of big pieces of that World Series team, because the World Series is 23?
2021.
2021. That's what I
Yeah.
thought.
So we
Wait, y'all won 100 games in 22 and 23 after the World
100
Series?
plus, yeah.
Dang.
So we in
With this
theory do
core.
have a good team, and like, preseason projections always really like us.
Yeah. Have you lost anyone really from those 22 and 23 teams?
Yeah, here and there on the margins, but like in theory, Max Fried's the biggest piece we've lost off of those teams.
Yeah.
But our pitching's not been an issue this year. It's been
Yeah.
hitting, so we can get back on track though. This morning at like 10:30, news broke that Desmond Bane was traded from the Grizzlies to the Magic for 4 first-round picks, a first-round pick swap, Cole Anthony, and KCP. Initial reaction to that trade, JP? Like when you saw that trade, initial thoughts?
I mean, 4 first-round picks is the first thing that's pops out to you. People were comparing it on Twitter, saying like, okay, not OKC. Kevin Durant is going to be 7 first-round picks or something like that. I think it's a little bit different because Desmond Bane's under a longer contract. He's younger.
Sure.
He's a productive scorer. Kevin Durant older. He's probably a year 1 or year 2 guy. Meanwhile, Desmond Bane is there for 3 to Magic fans happy because we're being aggressive with this young core that we have. And what they really lacked was this season was just an offensive production.
Sure.
Franz Wagner and Boncaro are excellent pieces, and their highlights are really off. They're insane. They're really good, productive scorers in highlight tapes. In reality, they're outside of Boncaro, they're not productive enough to be 25-plus point guys a night.
Sure.
And Desmond Bane can be a third guy that can do what they do, and now you have 3 guys that can score 20 points a night. This team is, in fact, going to kind of remind me a lot of the New York Knicks in that way, where it is going to be, at least what I hope the New York Knicks will do next season, which is be a collection of guys that can score 20 points a night, that are going to play really, really good defense. Desmond Bane can defend really well, and Orlando was a top 3 defense in the league this season. So you pair Desmond Bane with that group, you get off the KCP contract, and you get rid of Cole Anthony, who is really like the 5th or 6th guard down the list when you have Anthony Black there and Jalen Suggs and Jet Howard. So it makes me excited for Orlando and for their fan base because they see what Boston is going to go through this next season. They see the turmoil in New York. If the Pacers were to lose the next 2 games, it almost kind of feels like for the other Eastern Conference teams that, the Pacers are a step or 2 away still. Meanwhile, in-house for Indiana, they'd be ecstatic even with losing the next 2 games. So for the Magic fans, I'm excited for them. They're going to be a team that has a chance to be a top 5 seed in the East, and given how the Eastern Conference is, especially if Giannis is shipped off as well this summer, they have reason to believe that they could do something similar to the way the Pacers did and go on a run in the Eastern Conference playoffs and make the finals, which would be huge for them, and huge for that organization. That's a win for that organization. So it makes me excited. That would be my first reaction, was excitement for the Magic fans and a little bit of question of, man, we gave up a lot of first-round picks, especially giving up the Phoenix Suns first-round picks next year.
The Phoenix one is tough, and I completely agree. My first thing was like, wow, 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane, which one I feel like Desmond Bane has flown under the radar these past couple years and is a little undervalued as a whole by the NBA community. He's just been a great scorer. The one stat that I've seen multiple times that stuck out to me is Orlando shot like 35% on catch-and-shoot threes last year, which was the worst in the NBA, and Desmond Bane shot like 50% on catch-and-shoot threes last year. They need shooting desperately, and he's an elite shooter. He fits their hard-nosed style defensively that they like to play. He'll get in there and muck it up. But yeah, it's a great fit, and I completely agree. I love to see Orlando go all in, and you do have to think that part of it is when they looked at the Eastern Conference, said this thing is as wide open as it may ever be, and we're in a good spot to make a move. I really, really like the move for them. Maybe a little bit of an overpay, but also as I thought about it more, like, yeah, 4 first-round picks. But KCP was pretty bad last year, and he's owed a good bit of money. So you kind of offload that money in that deal, in this move. Maybe he bounces back or whatnot. But, I mean, one, Desmond Bane's unquestionably better. But he was kind of the guy they brought in for shooting last offseason, and it didn't pan out. So you just kind of bring in a much improved shooter who also can handle the ball and do a lot of other things. It's a really good move. For Memphis, it's hard for me to grade it for Memphis because I don't know what the rest of their offseason is going to look like, right? Is this them admitting – well, I mean, it is, but, they're kind of admitting they can't win with this core they have, right? But are they just going to try and reload, or is this going to be a complete teardown? Is there any chance a Jaren Jackson or a Jaw gets moved this offseason? Stuff like that. I personally don't feel like they'll move off either of those guys. But also I didn't see the Desmond Bane trade coming. So do you think we could see either of those guys get moved this offseason, JP?
I think there's a chance, but in reality, there's no reason to because they're still really young.
Yeah.
Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. are both 25 years old. And these draft picks, especially the Phoenix picks next year, have the ability to be productive for your team. So I think you play another season. Like next season, my approach would be get Ja out there, make Ja play 60 games, see if he can qualify for the All-NBA teams. Can he have an all-star level season? And if he can, then maybe you got a chance to do something with that team next year. But if he can't, then maybe you move on.
Sure.
I feel like with their youth that like they have years to work with this, and they have years to where these picks can come in and be productive for them down the road. It's almost a little OKC-like, although they're about 2 to 3 years behind schedule. SGA only being 26 this year and Ja Morant being 25. But that would be the path they would have to go down. I think the first-round picks is a huge insurance, though, on that. Because
Sure.
if Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. aren't good next year, then you have every right to move off of them, and you already have the ammo. You're not going to have to go out there and search for the ammo. So you could even bring in young talents that are in their first, second year in the league instead of just getting draft picks on top of that. Because draft picks are great, but it's not like the NFL where a first-round draft pick is a starter for your team, hopefully for 4 years. You need draft picks that are in the top 10 to find productive guys, unless you got good scouting and you can find gems in the teens and in the 20s. So draft picks are great, but in the NBA, draft picks that aren't in the top 10 are used to trade for other players. And so that would maybe have to be the path they go down, where you trade – I would think you trade Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. for other players rather than more draft picks.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible.
That's where this trade is helpful for them, is they get the ammo first, and now they don't have to trade Ja and Jaren for ammo.
Yeah. I mean, I already said I don't think they'll trade them. And I agree kind of giving them one more year. I will say it is a little worrisome because if there's another year of Ja not staying healthy and Ja kind of having a dip in three-point shooting and just overall like rim finishing and efficiency and production, his trade value is definitely going to take another hit. And then you mentioned, you want those top 10 picks, but I want to say this Memphis team has done a great job of drafting outside that top 10. Think about guys like Scottie Pippen and Jalen Wells, who was rookie this past year, that finished top 3 in Rookie of the Year voting, I believe.
Zach Edey was outside of the top 10.
Zach Edey was outside the top 10. So they've shown to have a good scouting department and a good developmental group. So even if they end up using these picks, there's good reason to believe that they can hit on some of those and turn them into productive players for them. So it's a bit more of a wait and see on whether I like it for Memphis, and I think it's a little hard because I don't love this Memphis team in general. just considering they were, a 2 seed a couple years ago, and there was just so much promise, and they've not lived up to that. I feel like I've soured on them a little bit. But I think this could end up being a win-win trade for both teams, to be honest.
They really need the NBA to expand soon and get moving into the Eastern Conference. Yeah. That's kind of like the route that I would hope for, I think, as a Memphis fan, is let's bring in a team for Seattle and Las Vegas so then Memphis can move over to the Eastern Conference. That's kind of like the only route that they can go down, because it's going to, I mean, even with these draft picks, it's going to take a couple years to really get with the firepower that the Western Conference is going to have for the next 4 to 5 years, with the Thunder and Wemby with the Spurs and Luka with the Lakers and Ant with the Timberwolves. And you can just continue to go down that list of really fun teams. And the Rockets have a chance to get Kevin Durant and be really good next year. And the Mavericks have Cooper Flag now.
Who knows where Giannis is going to go? Like
the Western Conference. Where is Giannis going to go? Exactly. The Western Conference is not going to be getting any worse in the next 5 years.
Yep.
In fact, they may even be getting better. They're at least going to stay at the level they're at right now. So that's kind of like
nuts.
You'd rather have that at that point. Is hope for expansion.
Sure.
That feels like the only hope for them, because this core that we thought was going to be the future of the Western Conference is blown up on itself. Literally throwing grenades into the crowd that have bounced back into them.
Yeah.
And exploded on themselves.
Sure. Technically, the last thing we have on the show is the U.S. Open, and it's about to end, correct?
Yeah, J.J. Spawn has 2 putts to win a major, to win his second tournament ever. I'll go ahead and talk and just lay the stage.
Yep,
this
has
been unbelievable television. We came into today where there felt like 4 guys had a chance to win this. Sam Burns would be his first major win ever. Adam Scott would be his second major win and his first since the 2013 Masters. You had J.J. Spawn, who would win his first major and his second PGA Tour win ever. And then you had Victor Hovland, who would win his first major and finally kind of join the group of guys that it feels like he should be a part of among the elite. Did he make it? Holy shit. J.J. Spawn just made a 75-footer for birdie to win the U.S. Open.
Nerves of steel. Didn't even need the second
by
putt.
2 strokes. This guy, okay, I'll go into that. U.S. Open champion, J.J. Spawn, just won at Oakmont. He started the day with some of the most unlucky bounces you've ever seen, and he got the full Oakmont experience in the first 9. In the first 6 holes, he bogeys 5 of the first 6. On the second hole, he has about 60 yards into the par 4. He throws a dart right at the flag. It takes 1 hop, hits the flag stick.
I did see that.
Spins all the way off the front of the green. So he got screwed there. He gets screwed on the 3rd. This guy fought all day. Everyone kind of got ate up by the rain delay and the wet weather. And he just won the U.S. Open, his second tour win ever. I mean, this is his 3rd year on tour. This is his second U.S. Open ever. And he has just joined elite company. Winning a major in golf it's like winning a Super Bowl. Like, that team goes down in history forever.
Sure.
But in golf, it's individual. It's one person, and it's 4 of them a year. So you have more opportunities for everyone. But they're still holding that same illustrious, and they're held on that same pedestal. And you remember major champions forever. And J.J. Spawn just joined that elite company. Wow.
Shout out to him.
Spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, I saw all day about the weather, and I mentioned I saw the kind of the chip in off of that hit the pole. It wasn't. I mean, it didn't. I don't even know if it was the approach shot. I guess that hit the pole and bounced all the way back off, which was brutal. I gotta say, the rental place we stayed at this week had a old arcade golf game called like Golden Golf. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Yep.
But we
I
played
know that game very well.
we played a couple 4-person 18-hole sets. I did win the final one, but that is a tough game. That was a ton of fun to play. But shout out to JJ Spawn. We do have to talk about your performance in the Tupelo Invitational or whatever you called it. So if you want to take it away and talk about how that went down for you, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, the 2025 Mississippi Major occurred this past weekend at Tupelo National Golf Club. Among 3 competitors of the Golf Gang Club, we're in our second season. It's the 3 elite company. It's the only 3 players that have won tournaments. We had 11 wins amongst us of the 11 tournaments we had played at that point. We came into a spot where I myself was not on a heater, had been playing pretty poor recently, hadn't won a tournament yet this year in my 2 tries. And then we had Thomas and Rizzo come in. Thomas is coming off a win at Canton Golf Club 2 weeks prior. He's the defending club champion. He's got 3 total wins. And Anthony Rizzo comes in with 4 total wins in his career, but no major titles. So it's like a guy who wins a ton in the regular season but can't get it done
In the
when
playoffs.
the lights are the brightest.
Sure.
That's kind of been his story so far in 2 seasons. Through the first day, it was an interesting first day. We had an 1.5-hour rain delay. That first round took 6 hours. Rizzo and I tied for the lead after the first day at 1 over par. Thomas has a bad day, finishes at 6 over par. A lot of the conversation that night was who was going to win it between me and Rizzo. And we kind of left Thomas out of the picture a ton. And then we got into the back 9 on yesterday, and man, the tables turned, especially on the 13th hole. I myself put 2 balls OB, kind of took myself out of contention, and here came Thomas firing down the stretch. This guy shot a 51 on the front 9.
Dang.
He fires a 38 on the back to break 90 and shoot his low round ever.
That's a crazy flip.
Insane flip. I mean, I've shot 38 or lower 4 times in my life on a 9, and he came out and did that to break 90. And on the 18th green, Anthony had 2 putts to win a major, and he put the first one to 4 inches, taps in to win the Mississippi Major. An unfortunate collapse for me, but we're proud of what Anthony did this weekend, getting his first major title. And Thomas tried his best. He broke 90, shot his career best, and loses by a stroke, unfortunately.
Hurts a little bit.
And I just blew it up on the back. 3 triple bogeys is never going to get it done in a round. So a tough beat, but congrats to our 2025 Mississippi Major champion,
Sure.
Anthony Rizzo.
So is that the first major you haven't won?
Yes, this is our second major ever.
Okay.
So
Not exactly fair.
not really, not as big of a deal, but it's our first major of the season. I will defend the turquoise jacket on July 6th at Bradshaw Farms. Very excited for that. Very excited for the Champions Dinner on July 5th. We're going to copy the Masters and do that as well.
What's going to be on your menu?
So I'm excited for that.
Or that be revealed later?
That'll be revealed later. That
Okay.
hasn't been set in stone yet.
Sounds good.
But the menu will come out for that. That's going to be very
That's hype.
exciting.
That's really cool.
I've got to lock in. For me, I play my best in July for whatever reason, when I finally have played a ton of rounds and gotten a ton of reps in. Then I lock in, and I lock in July. I shot all of my career rounds in July. I shot last July. I shot a 72, a 77, and two 79s, as well as two 80s in that month. So I was just on fire last July, and I'm expecting nothing different come this July.
Sure.
They're looking to play another tournament this week. I'll play in a tournament 2 weeks from now, and then in 3 weeks we'll have the 2025 Bradshaw Major Championship. But congrats to Rizzo. It was fun. It was a really good time. Shout out to Mont for his pool house. We enjoyed that thoroughly, and it was a great weekend. Unfortunately, just couldn't get it done on Saturday.
It happens. I'm glad you had fun, though. It does really sound like a good weekend between the games and being at Elvera Cruise and at the pool house. Sounds like it really doesn't get much better than that. So
when do you make the move to the new place?
This weekend, right?
This weekend?
I'm in it right now.
Okay, awesome. Wi-Fi?
I moved in. Yeah, Wi-Fi's great.
Let's go.
Huge.
I moved in yesterday. Yeah, my Wi-Fi, from a ping perspective, I was averaging 110 ping there at the pool house.
Mhm.
Here I am sitting at 35 ping.
It's a big difference.
So light years difference.
Yeah.
I've got my
in the
Xbox.
gaming world.
So I'll be trying out some R6, see how it goes.
Well, you know it's about to drop, right?
Oh, shoot.
3 days, I
Oh
think.
boy.
Let's go. That's exciting.
Hold on, let me see.
I think it's the 6th. I thought it was the 16th.
The 16th. No, it's 19th.
19th.
So 4
All right,
days.
4 days. 4 days.
Rocket League without cars comes
It's
out.
this novel
June 19th.
idea. You play car soccer without the cars.
Yeah.
Remake.
Never been done before,
Yeah.
but I'm
excited. It does look fun. We played some of the beta.
Yeah.
All right. Baseball's still going. Anything else to talk about? Any other breaking news?
Not that I've seen. I was trying to see if I got any more, kind of refreshing Twitter, seeing if there were any more
Yeah.
reports on the Devers trade. The only thing I've seen is apparently he's happy about the trade.
Yep. State baseball got their second flip from UVA. We don't have to talk about that because we've already spent, I think, an hour over the last two shows talking about Mississippi State baseball. But that's exciting. Shortstop is still, in my opinion, the only position I'm nervous about. Unless there's a guy on the roster that can play it and I just don't know it.
You can play it, right?
I mean, I played softball. I played pitcher in slow pitch softball. I feel like my reaction speed's probably got to be up there.
Yeah, you got it. You'll just have to, I guess. re-enroll
I've
in
got
school.
eligibility left.
Yeah.
I haven't played yet.
Yeah, exactly.
I still have my COVID year. Yeah, I could be one of those 6-year seniors. Go
Don't you
back and
technically
take
have all
one
4
class.
years still. You just have to be enrolled in school.
Do I? Is it playing or yeah?
Just playing.
All right, then yeah, I've got all 4 years left.
Yeah.
I'll put my huddle in the comments. My slow pitch softball huddle.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. More commits. Still have not filled out the roster at all relative to what we lost to graduation in the transfer portal.
Still time.
Still a lot of time left.
I mean, the season's not even over yet.
I was
so.
this close to getting a Perfect Game subscription for 1 month just to see what our guys coming in next year are ranked because I really want to know how excited to be about them. But if anyone has a Perfect Game subscription and wants to drop screenshots, DM me on Twitter. I just want to know, where does Peter Mershon and the Twins, where do they rank in the country? Because I'm excited for Mississippi State baseball. Jack told me earlier that I was going to get excited for Mississippi State football, whether I liked it or not.
It's gonna happen. Oh, item of business, real quick, JP.
Oh boy.
Sanders started the live stream with a graphic up on the screen, so I believe that's another strike for our producer.
Yep.
Just the figure you should know that. I do think that makes 3 strikes. So
Yeah, let me just. I'll just go and end it now, and y'all can take over.
yeah, thank you. All right, I think we can wrap up the show.
Yeah, I think we're good. We can go watch baseball, get some food.
I'm so hungry.
Yeah, I can munch. I haven't eaten out like all week. I've been saving money. That's what happens when you aren't in town.
Yeah,
and there's nothing.
I'm a bad influence, I
No
guess.
cookout to get.
All right. Thanks for tuning in as always, guys. Show was a ton of fun. If y'all watch this long, it really does mean a lot. But we'll be back for y'all Wednesday, and I hope to see y'all then.
See you.
Peace.
Bye.
You actually maybe got caught, JP.
Yeah, the by May got caught. That's because I was trying to end the stream.
Dang it.